Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. Alright, it's the last day of my short weekend. Go back to work tomorrow for my long week at work. And the task for today is that I'm going to have the company that's monitoring the pest control system in the house out to do an inspection to see what's going on. Turns out when I bought the house, the previous owners had an insurance policy with a local vendor to monitor it because, you know, there's a lot of pests, especially like termites in Texas, that can do great damage to the house. And I've continued that policy for the last 3 years that I've been in this house. Well, a couple weeks ago, I got contacted by the pest control company. Turns out they were supposed to come out and inspect the house once a year to make sure that there aren't any problems going on. There are these little spikes around the yard that have been in the yard for 3 years. They aren't doing any good anymore. In fact, I pulled a few of them up because they're empty. They're used up. And you know, I've been wondering all along, what is it that I'm paying my money for? It seems to me that if I were a pest control company and guaranteeing that I would take care of anybody's house, if they had pest problems, I would want to protect my investment and come out and do inspections and refill those traps and all that, just to make sure that everything's okay. And like I said, I've been concerned about that all along. And you may recall about 2 months ago, I went around and I went and bought some just off-the-shelf termite spikes that you drive into the ground to monitor whether there's termite activity going on. And the way those things work is the spike has bait inside of it. And if the termites are getting in there and eating the bait, which is supposed to poison them, there's like a little spring-loaded pin that's supposed to pop up to alert you that there's been activity there. Well, I've been around the yard for the last couple days, and I've noticed that 4 of those pins have popped up. And so I'm a little concerned, so I really called over to the pest company and said, hey, what's going on? You know, am I supposed to be getting inspections on all this? Because it doesn't make sense that you just have me paying $125 a year for protection if you weren't going to protect your investment. They say, yeah, you're supposed to be getting inspections. So they set up one today, and the guy's going to be here in about an hour and a half to inspect the area, hopefully refill all those traps, and tell me if I got a bigger problem. Yeah, this is one of the spikes that I put into the ground a couple months ago to monitor whether we've got termite activity going on. And this is another one here, and you can see the pin is clearly popped up. So we've definitely got issues going on here. There's another pin that's popped up over here, and then there's also 2 of them I discovered in the front yard. So like I said, I'm going to point that out to the pest guy when he gets out here and make sure that he does a thorough inspection and figures out what we're going to do about this. Like I said, these bait spikes are supposed to be poisoned, so hopefully what's going on here is anything that's taken the bait out of the stakes here has come back to the hive and hopefully is poisoning the hive. But like I said, they got to get out here and take care of this, make sure that we're under control here, because I don't want any problems in my house. I spent too much money on this, and I like this place too much to have it eaten alive by termites. So I'll let you know what happens when they get here. Alright, the guy is actually come and gone. He actually arrived a little bit early, which was surprising. I just happened to, right after I finished shooting the last scene, I happened to look out the window and he just pulled up. So I went out and greeted him, kind of explained to the situation, told him about the spikes that I had that had popped up. He told me that those aren't really poison. They're more just alert that something's going on, that there's termite activity down there. So he did an inspection of the house inside and out. Basically, what he's looking for is when the termites start eating, they'll be like, for lack of a better term, termite poop around the area where they're eating. You'll basically see like it just looks like dirt. And he went all the way around the inside of the house, and then he went outside and walked around the outside. And while he did notice a couple things he wants me to pay attention to and make some minor changes, he says he didn't see anything that concerns him. So he said just kind of monitor it. He actually told me what to look for, And so at this point I can kind of monitor this myself. We'll probably replace those termite traps that have sprung up just to see what's going on down there, and continuously monitor it. Now, he noticed that there were the spikes that were in the yard from when I moved in. I pulled a couple of them out, and he says, well, at least one of them that you got there still has the poison in it. So he recommended putting that back in the ground in an area where one of the spikes that had popped up was. And I'm actually going to go over and see if I can find some more of those spikes, that maybe the ones that have poison in them, so that if we do get further termite infestations, that we can deal with it before it becomes an issue. But he says he didn't see anything that concerns him, except for the fact that a couple of those traps had popped up. Now, he says what to look for is if you actually have termites working their way up into the house. Since I have a concrete foundation, it's not like they're going to get under the house, tunnel through the concrete, and get up to the wood. They're going to have to go up the foundation outside the house. And he says what you'll see is you'll see trails that look like just a little tube of dirt going up the side of the house up to where there's wood. And he says keep an eye on that, and if you don't, as long as you don't see any of it, then they aren't working their way up to the wood part of the house. And he says he didn't see any of that. He did give me one area he wanted me to look at and make a minor modification, and that's something I can do, and I'm going to actually take you outside and show you what that is. It turns out that most of the way around the house, the foundation lifts up above the ground. He says what I'll see is a little tube that looks like dirt crawling up the side of the house, and that's termites going from the ground upwards looking for dirt. And since most of the house, the foundation is an inch or two or more above the dirt level, he says as long as you don't see anything there, you won't have any problems. But he did see one area over here he wants me to adjust, and that shouldn't be too terribly difficult. In this area, the soil level goes up to the brick level. Now, even there, that shouldn't be much of a problem because termites aren't any more into concrete than they are into bricks. But he says it would be a good idea to bring the dirt level in this little corner here down a couple inches, just so I can see the foundation. See, and I don't have to do much because there's foundation there. It's just in this little corner, and even by the time I get to this corner of the house, it's the soil level's gone back down again. So I'm going to get in here, excavate this, bring it down a couple inches, and that's really the only modification he suggested. I asked him if I should go out and buy some more of the termite traps or termite spikes. He says probably not, but I think I'm going to do it anyway just to be on the safe side. And I want to also take a look and see if they've got anything maybe that I can buy that is more than just bait. It's actually poison that will kill the hive, because that's really ultimately what we want to do. Is we want to get something in the ground that if they eat it, they bring it back to the hive and kill off the whole hive. Ultimately, the best way of dealing with termites is to destroy the hive, and if I can find something to do that, obviously there's stuff out there that does that, so I gotta assume I can find it somewhere, even if it's online, and we'll get some of those spikes in the ground that actually poison the insects, not just provide food for them, and allow you to tell that something's going on. So I'm going to run over to Home Depot, see what I can find, pick up some more of those stakes that are just the alert issues, and we'll go from there. Now, it's interesting, when I was talking to the guy about these detection spikes that I put in there, he says those are for detection only and don't actually kill, but this actually says that they are detection and killing stakes. So the pop-up indicator detects termite activity and kills the foraging termites. So that's maybe a good thing. Maybe it does more than this guy knows. So I am definitely going to go get some more of these, and we'll replace the ones that are in the ground, and hopefully we can maintain this issue and have it not become a further issue. So I did go over to Home Depot and picked up a few more of these stakes that I have in the ground, but I've kind of decided, I think, that I'm not going to put them in the ground immediately. The fact that the little spring-loaded thing has popped up doesn't mean that all the bait, all the poison has been removed from the old traps or the old spikes. It just means that there's been activity down there. So we're going to leave the current spikes in the ground, but I'll hold on to these, and maybe in a couple months we'll put some more of them in the ground in the places where the springs have popped up, and then we can, you know, hopefully kind of maintain this and prevent any future issues. Like I said, I'm going to continue monitoring the foundation. Now that I know what I'm looking for, I can pay close attention to this, watch this, make sure there are no trails going from the ground up to the wood parts of the house, and I should be able to keep the house pretty safe from here on out. So that's what we're going to do with that. And I actually, while I was out and about, I saw something else that I picked up, and I want to show you what that is. A couple weeks ago I did a video where at the end of it I showed a bunch of birds kind of hanging out at the bird bath, and one of them seemed like he wasn't in really good shape. Now I've got like a mister head on one of my sprinkler or one of my hose attachments, and I was trying to use that to kind of mist the area, but it wasn't really doing a good job because he was laying it on the ground and it really wasn't getting a whole lot of mist into the immediate area. And I remember thinking, you know what, I've seen these little curlicue things that you plug into the hose and they lift a mister head way up off the ground. And I said, I'm gonna go out and try and see if I can find one of those. And I went to Home Depot and they didn't have them. I went to Walmart and they didn't have them. But I went over to Ace Hardware and they did. And so I've set up a little mister thing right next to the bird bath here. You can't even tell really that it's going, but there is a little bit of a mist of water coming on there. And I think this is gonna just something I'm gonna leave going around the bird bath. Then they can kind of all go and get a little cool off if they need be, because this is one of the things I noticed about the head that I had that went on the hose, is it just threw way too much water. And so in addition to it not being high enough off the ground to do a whole lot of good, it also was kind of, I think, scaring the birds off a little bit. So hopefully this will be a lot thinner of a mist. Like I said, you can barely even tell it's going, but it's just throwing just a little bit of moisture around here. So I think this is something I'm going to leave going here. Like I said, it's not going to use an enormous amount of water, but I think it'll make the birds feel a little bit better and provide a little additional method for them to cool off in addition to just the water and the bird bath. So, see, there we go. Still got the hornets and the yellow jackets or whatever, they're coming here for water also. So anyway, I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.